The last session we discussed what is the meaning of enterprise, primary ledger, legal entity, business unit, inventory organization. And when we do the implementation, how many we have to create? That point also we discussed. At the time of implementation, how many enterprises we can create? Only one. How many primary ledgers for each country? One primary ledger is required by default. And legal entities, how many registrations they have? Those many legal entities. When you talk about business units, simply you can take how many branches they have, or else in the same branch if they have multiple businesses, accordingly you have to create the business units. The organization, how many warehouses they have as per their business, those many inventory organizations we have to create. And one additional also you have to create, what is the purpose and all will understand. For now, simple point you can take. Okay, if you see 10 warehouses in the business, you have to create 10 inventory organizations plus one additional. So this is what we discuss. So this is all we have to create in the system, irrespective of which applications we are implementing. Again, when we are implementing specific applications, based on that applications and business requirement, we have to do the additional setups. So irrespective of their application usage and all, if you are going to implement Fusion applications for any client, so this structure we have to create in the instance. Okay. So top level enterprise, under enterprise division. What does it mean by division? We'll discuss in today's session. So top level enterprise under the division, under divisions, primary ledgers, under primary ledgers, legal entities, under legal entities, business units, under business units, inventory organization. This we call as enterprise structure in Fusion applications. Okay, enterprise structure we call. So I'll take you through few slides. Okay, with some examples to understand better about enterprise structure. So this is what we are discussing as enterprise structure. Okay, top level we have enterprise. Okay, top level we have enterprise. With enterprise, we can maintain the employees information with the help of HCM applications. When you talk about division within the enterprise structure, division is not a mandatory concept. Okay, it's a purely optional. Division is purely optional. So at the time of implementation, we can ignore the division. What transactions we can record at division level? You cannot record any transactions. What applications can be mapped at division level? No applications. As a hierarchy, you can use the division. Accordingly, you may do the reporting. So that is a point you can take. It's not mandatory. As of now, you take that point as not mandatory. Under division, you can see the primary ledger. To record the transactions in any application, primary ledger is required. And legal entity, how many registrations to capture, to track each and every transaction belongs to which legal entity. The legal entity is required in the system environment. The real business transactions can be recorded by using the business unit concept only. Okay, the business unit concept only, you can record the real business transactions. And when you talk about inventory organization, it's all about to perform the warehouse related transactions, to maintain the stock and to perform the warehouse related transactions. We use inventory organization concept. So these are the points we have to understand. Now let's take simple example. Okay, one client is running the business, okay, in one country, that is USA. So they have two divisions. In the same country, say they have two separate registrations. With each registration, they are running the two business in two locations. Okay, if you take this example, okay, here what example I am taking? Client is running the business in US and they have two different divisions. Division wise, they have a registration. Okay, division wise, they have a registration. And since they are running the business in US, only one primary ledger. And division wise, the registration wise, they have a business in the separate locations, accordingly business units, and how many warehouses we have, that we can create. So this is how you can create the enterprise structure for the client. If client is running the business in one country, one primary ledger is required. Say they want to operate their business with the two different divisions. So those two divisions, consulting division and electronics division. And for division wise, say they have a registration. For consulting division, consulting legal entity, electronics division, electronics legal entity. With this registration, consulting legal entity, with this registration, they are running the business in two locations. For two locations, two business units, New York and Dallas. And for those two, stores inventory. Okay, it is not a real inventory, these are the dummy inventories, you can say, because they are into consulting. For consulting, ideally, we don't need any warehouses. So
Okay,
I have to stores inventory. Okay.
Lakshman, there is some echo from
Also.
side, some whistle sound when you
One
talk.
second, don't mind. Just I'll explain and I'll stop. I'll wait for your questions also. Yeah, I'll take your questions. So here I took example as stores inventory. Here you can understand stores inventory is dummy inventory I took. When you talk about electronics legal entity, okay, electronics legal entity, under this registration, they are operating the business in two locations. One is Austin, other one is Los Angeles. The Austin business, they are into computer sales. You take example, just they are into computer sales. So they have one warehouse for computers. And when you talk about Los Angeles branch, they have a two businesses. One is computers, other one is mobiles. I took example, they have two warehouses, one for computers, other one for mobiles. So this is how you can create the enterprise. Now here, the new point for us division. Okay, within this enterprise structure, the new concept is division. We discussed about other points. What is enterprise? What is the primary ledger, legal entity, business unit, and the computer, inventory organizations. The new point within the enterprise structure is division. What does it mean by division? Here you can see, I took division as a specific business. Okay, different vertical of businesses you can take as a separate divisions. Different vertical of businesses, you can say client is doing the 4 different businesses. Each business we can take as a division. Each business we can take as a division. Or else here you can look at other example. Say client is operating the business in 4 countries. India, Singapore, France, UK, 4 countries. Now in 4 countries, we are taking the 2 divisions. This India and Singapore falls under APAC division, and France and UK comes under EMEA division. So that means division means it's all about segregating your business based on the type of businesses which are doing or based on the geographies. Okay, division you can take geography based, or else say client is running the business in India only. In India, they are doing the business in say 30 locations. Now simply you can take the divisions. How you can take divisions? East division, west division, north division, south division. Under east, what are the different locations you are operating the business? Those all comes under east division. What are the businesses you are doing under north division? All you can list out. That's how you can segregate for our reporting purpose. Or else client is doing 10 different businesses. Each business you can take into the system as a separate division. But division level, you cannot record any transactions, not possible. Okay. So to establish the organization hierarchy, how organization you are running, how the reporting is happening, for that purpose, you can use the division. Otherwise, there is no advantage of division. So mostly when you do the implementations, we don't use division as a part of enterprise structure. Okay. If you take division as one of the segment in the chart of accounts, yes, you can record the transactions with the division. You take division as a part of enterprise structure, there is no great value addition. So here you can see, without division, this is how enterprise structure looks like. Okay, this is how enterprise structure looks like. So that's what we have to understand about division. First, we'll talk about this, then we'll proceed with other slides. Okay. So if you are going to implement for one client who is operating the business in one country, and if they want to run the business with the two different divisions, division wise, if they have a registrations, okay, and if they are running the business in 4 locations, and accordingly, what are the warehouses you have, this is how you have to establish the structure. In the system, you don't need to create this kind of graphical representation. When you create all this, automatically system will understand this hierarchy. So this is what we call as enterprise structure. Okay, this is enterprise structure we call. As per client business, we have to create the enterprise structure. Any questions here, please?
So Lakshman, if division is, if we have registration at division level, then it is as good as LE.
What you said? Division level?
If we have registration at division level, so it is as good as legal entity, correct?
Yeah. Yes. Here, the same example I took. Okay, too simple. See, forget about division. They are doing 2 different businesses: consulting business, electronics business. Okay, they have separate registration. Same businesses, they are treating as a divisions. Always, business type is not a division. They can take the geography as a division. Simple point is they are doing 2 different businesses. Business wise, they have a registration. Consulting, electronics. 2 businesses they have. For 2 businesses, they have a separate registration. What they want to do is that business type they want to take as a separate division. That is the reason they are taking these 2 as a divisions.
So, Lakshman, the question is that for the legal entity perspective, yes, definitely we'll consider the number of registrations. For division point of view, there is no interlink with legal entity division, right?
No link.
Yeah, another part is that, when division comes in picture, is it anything reporting perspective or consolidation point of view or geographic point of view need to consider as you're showing in the pic, or something else?
That's it. That's it. What you mentioned, that's true. As per to establish the how the organization hierarchy is working, okay, or else to produce the reports directly. You cannot record and you cannot produce the transaction by consolidating the data. You can present reporting at a division level. No transaction can be recorded directly by selecting the division. Yeah.
So are we creating a new segment for division?
If you want to create new segment in the chart of account, that will be very much useful. Without creating the segment in the chart of accounts on division, if you are going to have a division as a part of enterprise structure, no value addition. There is no great usage of that division in the enterprise. If you want to take the advantage of division concept, create one segment in the chart of accounts so that you can record the transactions and you can generate the reports.
Do we have any specific segment label for division in chart of accounts?
No. See, label, always we decide like what we want to do. See, we want to balance the transactions at company level. So we made it as a primary balance segment label. We want to set the nature of accounts for account segment. So we assign natural account segment label. The same way, if there is some purpose you want to set based on so and so segment, then you will decide. It is not like directly division level, some segment label we don't have by default. You don't have specific label to assign for division by default.
Lakshman, why you are saying that we need to add a segment for the division perspective? Is it essential?
Not essential. See, what I'm saying is, say this is how you have enterprise structure. Okay, this is how you have enterprise structure. Now you are going to record the transaction. And you create the transaction, you select company, you select department, you select account. Okay. And again, say you are recording the transaction in payables application, you select your business unit. Okay, say you are recording the one transaction, the payables department, in the dollars US business, dollars business unit. So there I will select business unit. There I will select which company, which department, which account. I cannot select division. Okay. I cannot select division when I record the transaction. If I look at my transaction, complete transaction, whatever I'm creating in payables or receivables, nowhere you can find the division. You cannot understand by seeing the transactions belongs to which division. If you want to track the division, it is not possible. So if you want to track the division in each and every transaction, add one segment as a division in the chart of accounts. So that in payables, when you are creating the transaction, you will select business unit and you will select which company, which department, which account. Again, the transactions belongs to which division also. Okay. If you include division as one of the segment in the chart of accounts, you can include the transactions belongs to which division. Accordingly, you can create the transaction and you can generate the reports also. If you have a division as a part of enterprise structure level, okay, as a part of enterprise structure, you have a division. To establish the hierarchy, you may have a division, but when you are recording the transaction, you cannot specify the transactions belongs to which division. The actual transaction takes place at BU level. In any BU level, you cannot select division. Clear?
So if we create this division as a segment, then we have to make this division also primary balancing field, right? With BU?
Not required, not required. Only one is enough. Company, if you are making, that is enough. Primarily, what level you record the transactions? BU's level, business unit level, right?
Okay.
Enough. Okay, this you can make as a division so that you can track in each and every transaction. Say, for example, you are recording the transaction with New York business unit and the Dallas business unit. For these two are belongs to which division? Say consulting. Since those are under consulting legal. For these two, whenever you record the transaction with New York or Dallas business unit, you may select division as a consulting division. For these two, you may select the electronics division. That's all.
Lakshman, I have one question. Actually, if you want to, that means, generate the yeah, if you want to generate the reports at division level as well as that means how much revenue you have generated in each division and as well as at company level. That time how can we see that
See, generation you can do that. See, you have first thing is balancing. What level you want to balance the transactions? Okay. So always we balance the transaction company. Here company means you have to take the business unit. Along with that, if you want to balance the transactions and if you want to generate the reports at division level, take division as one of the segment. And for company, what label we are assigning?
Sorry?
For company, what label we are assigning?
Yeah, that is primary balance segment.
Primary balancing segment we are assigning to company.
Yeah, correct.
You can assign secondary balancing segment label to division segment.
Okay, okay. That means we need to assign to the company as well as a division as well.
Yeah, if that is your requirement.
Okay.
Okay. Ideally, you don't need to balance multiple levels. Okay, as a best practice, we just balance only one level. If you want, what you have to.
Is there any difference between primary and secondary? Can we make it BU as a secondary and division as primary?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay.
Okay, for to differentiate, they given three balancing labels: primary balancing segment label, secondary balancing segment label, and third balancing segment label. Three we given, but we'll discuss today's session itself. What are the best practices when we design the chart of accounts? There we'll discuss how many labels we have to use.
Quick question, Lakshman. I'm sorry, again, just a little bit confused. Just
No issues, we can discuss. Any question, no issues. We can discuss.
Thank you. So, Lakshman, if you see this big, okay, just I don't want to get into the division level. When you see yesterday, when you're talking about unit level, whatever the business unit level, it'll be mapping to the company segment so that we can balance level, we can get to know profit and loss or whatever the name, right? Yesterday, we took the example of outlets. So, with two things, when you mapped into the ERP consulting, right? So when I'm trying to run the reports, definitely I'll get to know the balance segment level, New York business unit and Dallas.
Correct.
So in division again, because the division is ERP consulting, the map shows what additional information I can expect from the division level mapping.
Nothing. The summary. The summary. Say for example, these two businesses, okay, these two businesses who are running under consulting division. These two business units. This falls under this. Then normally we'll have a 4 balance segment values for this 4 BUs, right? Each BU and balance segment value. Now you will be able to find out the profitability or any reports, the BU wise. If you want to find out division wise, if you go for consulting division, if you run that, you can find out data by combining these two BUs related data. That's all. Here only you have 2. In some scenarios, you may have a 20 under one division. Under another division, maybe 50. Now, division level, if you try to generate the report, it will give some of those BUs results. That's all.
Okay. In other words, we can say it's a parent company like this, right?
It is not parent and child. That relation is different. We create in the system within the balancing segment only. We'll see that it is not parent and child. We are not establishing, but we are trying to generate the reports in such a way where it will sum and it will provide the results.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Lakshman, so at the time of implementation, obviously the client would have a clear idea about his org chart and the company chart. But to fit that chart into this, what we are discussing now, is our role as a consultant. We have to clarify the doubts and help them come up with this kind of structure at the time of implementation. Is that the consultant's role, to give clarity to client about what?
Exactly. First, we have to see how they are doing the business.
Right.
Okay. How they are doing the business, we can see. Simple.
Right.
Here, put an empty slide. Now I'm in front of the client. Okay. My client is saying, so they are doing business in India. Okay. I'll ask the question. Okay. To run the business in India, how many registrations we have? They said only one registration. They said only one registration. And how many locations you are operating the business? They said 9 locations. Okay, they said 9 locations. And how many warehouses you have? They said 4 warehouses. Okay, that's all. So this is the information I collect. Now I have to create one enterprise. Of course, only one is possible. Okay, one is possible. And I have to create one legal entity. And 9 locations they are doing the business. We recommend, we suggest to go for 9 business units. Four inventory organizations. Okay, 4 inventory organizations.
Lakshman, one question.
One second. When I'm explaining, please, I'll stop and I'll give you time.
Sure, no problem.
Third, since one country, we suggest one primary ledger. Okay, so this is how based on the information, you can plan to suggest. Then again, we'll sit and discuss. As per the discussions, if they are expecting something else, if they says we don't need 9 business units, we don't need this and that, accordingly we have to plan. But if this is the information from the client, okay, this would be the proposed solution. Again, we'll sit and discuss with the client in the primer ledger, what are the chart of accounts we use, how many segments we require, on what base we have to decide. Those points also we have to discuss with the client. That we are going to understand in the today's session. And again, we can talk to the client. Okay, you are doing the business in 9 locations. What businesses you are doing in 9 locations, same business you are doing, or 9 locations, 9 businesses are doing, or in the 9 locations you are doing the multiple businesses. The client may say, overall, I'm dealing with the 2 type of businesses. Okay, overall, we are dealing with the 2 type of businesses. So that we are doing in the 9 locations. They may say, if you are dealing with the 9 locations, okay, 9 locations business, if you are dealing with 2 type of businesses. So if you want to have a segment, if you want to group, okay, if you want to generate the reports, based on the type of businesses also, if they say yes, you can include that as one of the segment in the chart of accounts. Or else, if you want to showcase, if you want to display the 2 type of businesses as a part of your enterprise structure, okay, this is a complete information we call it enterprise structure. If you want to showcase that information as you have a 2 divisions, you want to division this total business with the 2, that you can suggest to have a division also under enterprise. Ideally, if you see the real implementation, you don't see as some client is opting for a division. That is the reason Oracle also giving as optional. If somebody wants to take as advantage of division, that better for segment in the chart of accounts. If they just maintain at enterprise level, again, you have to put some additional effort to collecting the data for different BUs and all, preparing the report separately. That additional burden you have to take care of. If it is there in the segment, as a segment in the chart of accounts, directly you will record the transactions. Usually you can generate the reports. And the bottom line point is, mostly you don't see the division in the enterprise structure, the current implementations, whatever going on or whatever done already. This is the point. Now your questions, please.
Lakshman, the question is regarding, is it necessary to have a warehouse in each business or something, for example, in a banking organization or something?
That's what. Yesterday, I think the same point we discussed, somebody was raising that point. If they have warehouses, we have to create. If they don't have warehouses, okay, they are into services. No warehouse we have to create since they don't have. But as per system, the inventory organization creation is mandatory. Otherwise, you cannot complete certain setups. In such kind of scenarios, we create one dummy inventory, dummy warehouse. By selecting the dummy name, we can complete the required setups.
But that will not be used in transactions as such, as it only
First of all, it is dummy, they don't have. Which transaction they record when they don't have something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Lakshman, can we just broadly say that the concept of legal entity is for reporting to the governments, and the concept of divisions is to judge your own the profitability of various product lines or various business lines that you have within.
Geographies based business or vertical of businesses. You can take anything as a division.
It just gives you another option to
completely optional, that is.
Right.
Okay.
Lakshman, one question.
Please.
So if we take this, if we have 9 location and 2 business, so either we can create 18 BUs or 9 BUs and 2 divisions, right?
Yeah. If they says yes, in 9 locations, in each location, 2 type of businesses.
Yeah.
2 type. Yes.
If you have any activities,
one second. If you include this point, 2 type of businesses, say in each location they are doing consulting business, Okay. And they're into financial services. There's two different businesses they are doing. 9 locations, 9 branches they have. Each branch are doing 2 different businesses. Then definitely they'll go with 18.
Yes. Or 9 BU and or 2 divisions, right? We can do like that.
Sorry?
Or 9 BU, and we can take 2 division as a business instead of creating 18 BUs, right?
Yeah, if they want to use segment called as division.
Yes, that's so
Okay.
we can
If
give 2
the-
solutions. Yeah.
One point here. It's not direct point, that is, they can take division as anything. One is business type they can take, vertical of business they can take. Others, the geography they can take as division.
Yes.
Taking,
So
one second. If they are taking division as a type of business, then if you take the division as a chart of account structure as a segment, then here they can go with that. But remember, if you take division and if you create 9 business units, okay, if you are creating 9 business units, only one total, how many companies we have to create? Here I'll take this example. Say 9 only I'm taking. 9 business units when you don't include this point. Okay, 9. In each location, 9 locations, each location they are doing the 2 businesses. Okay, so 18 business units. If you go with 18 business units, what happens is 18 business unit level, you will be able to do all this. The last session we discussed. Okay. You can track the transactions separately. You can generate the reports. You can set controls, 18 BUs level, defaults, and the features enabling, disabling data security you can maintain. But here, by taking this example, what you mentioned, 9 BUs, okay, if they are doing 2 types of businesses, 9 BUs and 2 divisions you are saying. If you create 9 business units, the 9 BUs only will be able to set all this. Okay, division level, what you are selecting, you cannot set those controls. Controls doesn't work. You will lose the opportunity of managing, recording the business transactions, the more controls and defaults, and enabling or disabling the security. That is the reason you always depend on, where is that sheet? Business units. Okay, if this is the reality, okay, if this is the reality, what you can do is create 18 business units. And you can have one of the segment called as division that will help you to track the, by grouping the specific BUs data. So I'll have 2 divisions. If I run the report with the division 1, it will give the results for 9 BUs. If I run the report with the division 2, that will give the data results, the report for another 9 BUs. For that purpose, you can use division. Okay. So, but when we are going to run the business in 9 locations, in each location, 2 different type of businesses, this is our example we discussed. 3 businesses you are doing in 2 locations, create 6. That is the best practice. For every business, you will have proper controls and defaults and enabling features, disabling features, how the transactions can be performed, and you will be able to differentiate as per reality how those operations are happening. So that is the point you have to understand.
Lakshman, quick question. Suppose because whatever the business units you are creating here, you are mapping into balance segment, which is a company segment.
Yes, how many business units you are creating, those many balance and segment values, company values we have to create. Right.
Because the only reason is you want to make sure that unit level or outlet level, you want to get to know profit and loss account or business transaction level.
Yes,
If I
exactly.
don't want that, because the company is only one, I don't want that. So in this case, I can create company segment as only one company, and I can create as a segments level and adding as a business unit as a segment. I can do that, right?
No, 1 second. See, whatever you are taking as a company, instead of giving the name as a company, give the name as a business unit. Nothing wrong. Because your business units are equal to your companies. The business units are equal to balance segment values, right? So reality, when you do the implementation, you can take any name. You can take as a company, or else you can take the same segment name as a business unit.
The point is that, because for example, let's take I'm running the show is running the operations in eight business areas, but I'm having only one bank account. Okay, I'm having only one bank account where the company is only one, just operations are going on different level. I don't want track level to business unit level. I want track as only one level. So in that case, there is any necessary to add all 18 business units as a company?
One point here. You have 8 business areas, right? Now, when you record the transaction, you did some purchases in business area 5. How you want to record the transaction?
I don't want to be.
The 5 you want to record, or just by ignoring 5, just you want to record you did business?
Don't want track at that level.
Sorry?
Don't want to be that level.
Okay. 1 second. Then how do you find out which is doing good, which is doing not good?
I'm saying if I want that level only, I need to create business that many business units to map into the as balance segment. Otherwise, I can create as a one balance segment as a what is the company. I can go ahead, right?
Yes, you can go ahead. In that case, you lose the opportunity of tracking the transactions, those levels. You said you have 8 business areas. The business area wise, you cannot track the transactions. You cannot generate the reports business area wise. You cannot find out how much you spend business area wise, how much revenue generated, what is the profitability. Is all you will lose the opportunity.
In that case, I can add as one segment, as you said, division point of view. I can add as one business segment, business unit segment. I can do that, right?
No. With the segment, you cannot do that. Business unit creation and segment creation, 2 are different. Segment means just values you are providing. Business unit means that level you can enable a lot of features and controls, which is not possible at segment level.
And in that case, if it is in your example, if it is 18 business outlets there, all outlets having a separate bank accounts, or it will be single bank account?
That is up to your company. One bank account can be used by multiple n number of BUs. You can associate one bank account for only one BU. How reality you are running, accordingly it will work. Okay. Take this example, 18 business units. So one bank account can be accessed by 18 business units. That is possible. Any other questions, please?
One of the questions that comes to my mind is when you're, if you have a lot of things that are shared across multiple divisions, like you could have your warehouses, your IT cost. So in a situation like that, will you still use the same concept? Or would you just add an additional this for all the shared services?
What is your point? Are you talking about taking as a divisional segment or keeping the division as?
No, I'm saying, let's say you have three business lines. Okay.
3 business lines you have.
But these 3 business lines, they share a lot of the costs across those. For example, the IT.
No. That's a different story. That again, it comes under intercompany or intracompany transactions. Okay, in that case, we'll take one separate segment, or else without segment also you can manage that.
But my question was more from, would you be, if you have a situation like that, would you end up creating an additional business line just to record all this shared costs, or would you just use the intercompany transactions to
intercompany only? That we deal with the
Okay.
balancing only, not with the division.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
those maybe belongs to division. When it belongs to division, again within the division, it is belongs to which balance segment value we have to record accordingly. Those are within that division, between which branches or between which outlets or say between which business units the transactions happening, accordingly you have to record in the system. Directly division level you cannot manage that. So any other questions here, please?
Yeah, final one question in this regard. So in this case, 18 business units I can keep assign as a label balance segment, right? And company I can keep as 01.
18
business units, 9 or
are
18,
going to be,
whatever may be.
these are going to be in 2 locations, each business.
Yeah, 18 business.
Each location 2 businesses means 18 business units.
Yeah, I can create one business segment as a business unit. I can assign as a balancing segment.
That's all. That's all. The same we can do that. In some clients, what they do, they prefer to have the segment name as a company. In that, they will have all the business unit names. Okay.
Okay.
Some clients prefer to have a name as a business unit only directly. They says, yes, we have only one company. By keeping that as a title, doesn't make sense if you are going to list out the business units. Let's have the name as a business unit only. Okay. So that's how you can give the name.
Lakshmana, in this case, how this chart of account structure will be like company, department, account, and all we are maintaining, right? In this example, how it will be like?
What is your question?
Actually, we are while defining the chart of account structure, right?
Please don't mind. Ask your question. I'm not stopping. What is your right question?
Okay, actually, in primary ledger, we have segments, right? Okay, company, department, account, and feature 1, feature 2, some segments are really segments are there, right? In this example, okay, we have 18 business. That means 18 business units means companies. In the company segment, we have 18 values, right?
That's
0,
all.
0, 1,
That's
0, 2,
all.
0, 2,
That's
like
all.
that.
If you have
Well,
18
coming to
business
department,
units in our chart of accounts, you will create 18 balance and segment values. That's all.
yeah, correct only. Well, coming to departments and
How many
accounts.
departments you have, you create those many. They are nowhere related again. When you talk about enterprise structure, you don't need to decide something in the chart of accounts based on your enterprise structure. When you talk about enterprise structure and when you create the chart of accounts, as per your enterprise structure, how many business units you have, accordingly you have to create the values in the company value set, balance and segment values. That's all. Other things, you no need to check how many, what we have in the enterprise. Accordingly, you are not going to create anything within the chart of accounts. You create divisions. If you have a segment called as division, how many divisions you are going to have that you can have within the chart of accounts. When we are going to have within the chart of accounts, again, you don't need to maintain as a part of enterprise structure, the division. Okay, only the point is you can consider how many business units you have as per your enterprise structure. That point you can take. Accordingly, you can maintain the values within the chart of accounts under balance and segment.
Okay.
Other things you don't need to consider anything. Okay, based on inventory organizations, we are not going to create anything based on legal entities, based on primary ledger, based on enterprise. We will consider some scenarios. I'll explain that also. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. For now, just only this is the point you have to consider when you create the chart of accounts. Right. So now we'll go through a few slides here. Okay. So other slide here, I took example. Client is running the business in 4 countries. Okay, they want to have 2 divisions. How they are taking the divisions? Based on the geographies. Okay, the India and Singapore comes under APAC division, APAC region, that they are taking as a division. And France and UK comes under EMEA region, that they are taking as a EMEA division. So for every country, we have a separate primary ledger. ERPTREE India primary ledger, ERPTREE Singapore, France. For every country, they have a separate primary ledger. It is a mandatory. Okay, because by default currency is different. And for every country, if you want to do the business in any country, minimum one registration is required. Accordingly, I took example for India legal entity, Singapore legal entity, France legal entity, UK legal entity. In India, how many locations you are doing the business? In 2 locations. I took example, 2 locations, 1 business only. Okay, which business that is I represented here. So in Delhi, they are doing the business. Okay, Delhi BU. What they are doing? Maybe computer sales, computer inventory. In Hyderabad BU, Hyderabad branch, what they are doing? They are into mobile sales. Same way Singapore, they have only 1 branch. The branch we are taking as BU. They are into mobile sales. Paris branch, Paris BU, they are into car sales. You take example. So cars inventory. Say UK, like in London, whatever they are into say some consulting business, or they are into some services. Since they are into services, no inventory. Okay, no inventory means we have to create the dummy inventory. And York, they have a business. They are into say bike sales or etc. Accordingly, there is one separate inventory. This is how we have to establish enterprise structure in the system environment. You don't need to go and draw like this for our understanding and to present to the client when you do the implementation. This is how we can do this. When it comes to the system, once you start creating this enterprise, primary ledgers, legal entities, business units, and inventory organizations, automatically this sort of hierarchy can be established by our applications only. You no need to go and tag which should be under what. Based on the setup, system will understand the hierarchy like this. And mostly you don't take division as a part of enterprise structure. Without division as a part of enterprise structure, this is how enterprise structure looks like. You have enterprise, no divisions. So directly you have a primary ledgers under primary ledgers, legal entities under legal entities, business units under business units, inventory organizations. But when you talk about what is the enterprise structure and the fusion, you should explain this. You have to include, but that is optional. How many clients are using? Max, no client is using the division concept because there is no great value addition. So that is the reason. But as an enterprise structure, you should remember this standard hierarchy. Okay, this is fixed. Okay, when you are going to use the fusion applications, when you create all these, this is how hierarchy can be established by system automatically. Okay, so what is enterprise structure in the fusion applications means? When I talk about enterprise structure in the fusion application, top level we can have enterprise where we can maintain the employees information. Under that we can have a division. How many divisions we have to create, that totally depends on what you are taking as a division. If you are taking different vertical of businesses as a division, how many vertical of businesses we have, those many divisions we have to create. If you are taking element as a geographies, accordingly you can create the divisions. So what you are taking as a division, that makes the number of divisions. Okay, so division level you cannot record any transactions. And the divisions we can have a primary ledgers. Under primary ledgers you can have a legal entities. Under legal entities you can have a business units. Under business units you can have a inventory organizations. Now we'll see, as per our enterprise structure, what level which applications can be mapped, where reporting takes place and all. So enterprise level you can have HCM applications. Division level, no applications, not applicable. No applications can be mapped, no transactions can be recorded at division level. As per enterprise structure level, as per enterprise structure, primary ledger level, we can map GL and FA applications. These 2 applications stands at primary ledger level. And legal entity level, you can say, ideally, there is no separate application. Okay, but this you can map, cash management you can map with a legal entity. Okay, in the cash management, we create bank accounts. The bank account owner is organization that we map with a legal entity only. When you create the bank account, we have to specify who is the owner for the bank account. Who is the owner? The company is the owner. How you are representing the company in the real company in the system is the legal entity only. The chart of accounts, what you give as companies, those are not reality companies. Those are part of companies like your branches and all. So real company means legal entity only. Okay. So when you create the bank accounts and the cash management, so we create legal entity as a bank account owner. That is a company registration. So you can take like cash management application stands at legal entity level, and business unit level, most of the applications like AP, AR, PO, OM, project costing, project billing. This is how there are many other applications. We don't need all those to understand. And inventory organization level, say inventory application. Sorry. So this is how like, okay, as per enterprise structure, which application can be mapped at what level? This is what you should remember. Okay, as per enterprise structure level, HCM application stands at enterprise level. Division level, no applications can be mapped. No applications, we have to record the transactions. The primary ledger level, we can map means Oracle did that. Okay, primary ledger level, GL and FA applications are mapped, and legal entity level, cash management applications mapped. Business unit level, the AP, PO, OM, project costing, project billing, these applications are mapped. Inventory organization level, INV is mapped. The reality, we record the transactions in business unit. Each and every transaction we record at BU level only. If purchasing department is doing something, we record in the accounts payables. If receivables department is doing something, we record in the receivables department. If purchasing department is doing, we record in the PO. This is how the real business transactions always record at BU level. But ultimately, data goes to GL application. We discussed in the P2p and O2C cycles. We'll transfer the data. Okay, all the applications will share the data with the general ledger application. That's what we discussed. So data is getting generated at BU level. Now all the applications, every application, you take any application here. In any application, if you are going to record the business transaction, you have to select the BU. The transaction belongs to which branch. Okay, which branch you have to select, or which business you have to select with the representation of business unit, and we will record the transactions. For financial reporting purpose, all the data we have to send to general ledger application. Okay. So, and we'll prepare the reports in GL. If there is any question, what level reports can be generated as per our enterprise structure? You have to say business unit level only reports can be generated. What is the place to generate the reports? GL. Okay, all the data, these application level also you can generate the reports. If you generate the reports in AP application, you can prepare the report related to only AP data. In AR applications, only AR data. But all this data will send to GL, and we can club all the data and you can prepare any report. Okay. So that's what you have to take. Say a simple example, you want to create income statement. How do you create income statement? Revenue and expense information you require. You get revenue data from receivables to GL and expense data from AP to GL. So in GL, you can have expense and revenue. But if you go to AP, only expense, no revenue. If you go to AR, only revenue, no expense. So that is the reason all the data get generated at BU level. Ultimately, the data will send to GL. GL level, you can generate the reports. Within the GL application, okay, by using our primary ledger, you can generate the reports. If there is any question, as per enterprise structure level, as per enterprise structure, what level reports can be generated? You can say BU level. That means data will go to GL at BU wise only. And even if you are preparing the reports in the GL, the data already generated BU specific. Accordingly, reports can be generated. Okay. So reports can be produced at BU level, but the place to generate the reports is GL application. So this is the point you have to understand. It's very important. What level, what applications can be mapped as per enterprise structure. Here, let's talk about. Okay, first point is enterprise structure hierarchy. You should remember. First point. Second point is what does it mean by what? These all you can call it as enterprise structure units also. Okay, within the enterprise structure, enterprise is one unit, division is one unit, primary ledger is one unit, legal entity, business unit, inventory, these are the different units. Okay, these all are a part of enterprise structure, so you can call it units. Okay, what is the meaning of which unit you should have? First, you should know the structure. Second point is what are the different units we have? What is the meaning of it? The third point is when you do the implementation, how many we have to create on what base? That is the third point. The fourth point is what level which applications can be mapped. The fifth point is what level reports can be generated. So this is what we have to remember when you talk about enterprise structure.
So one thing not clear, that GL and FA is mapped at a primary ledger. Why not at BU level? Because we need a BU for GL and FA also.
1 second. So GL, what is the purpose of GL?
To report, to generate report.
To generate
every at GL level, we transfer all the transaction.
Exactly. Okay. So this you can use for all the business units. Okay. So you are not going to record any your day-to-day business transactions. That is the reason GL is not standing at BU level.
Okay. And FA?
FA ideally it should be at BU level only. As per our product solution, it is there as part of primary ledger level. They did the mapping at primary ledger level, but still with balance and segment values, you can relate this is belongs to which company and all, even if it is not. The solution is, see what Oracle it is, if you go to just past how it was. So FA application was not developed by Oracle. Okay. FA application was not developed by Oracle. They acquired this application from CR Atlanta company. FA application, only FA application. How the solution they made, the same solution, they are just using within the Fusion or EBS applications. So as per the legacy of this FA application, how they built not business unit specific. They built with this level of primary ledger. That's how we are using as this. Still, okay, still you have an option to how to create the transactions your balance and segment value base. That is there.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Any questions on this point, please? This is very important. See, and understanding the structure and understanding the chart of accounts is very, very important. Okay, if you understand these two things, nothing is going to stop us from understanding other things. Other things are pretty easy when you are clear about these two concepts: enterprise structure and chart of accounts. We'll discuss about chart of accounts, what else we have to understand about it. Before we proceed, any questions on this, please?
Your financial statements are produced at the legal entity level, correct?
No. If you want, yes, that is possible. The finance statements and all can be produced at your balance and segment values level. Okay. If you want to produce that level also, legal entity level also, say for example.
No, but to report to the government, you'll be
You can do that. With that representation, you can do that. You can make parent and child relations. That's how you can group the data legal entity wise. Whenever in any application, whenever you record the transaction will be linked with the legal entity only. Okay. So we discussed here, we have to map, we have to do the mapping. Balance and segment values, okay, we are mapping with the legal entity. If I record the transaction with the company 1000, it will be tagged with this.
So that's how it will report at the
that's how it could be. System can understand and we can generate the report.
Thank you.
One question, Lakshman.
Please.
So primary ledger we say will map as in it's mapped to GL and FA. So is there a provision of making a direct adjustment into GL, or it would be at the BU level, as in you have to make adjustment into the sub ledgers or APAR level?
No, sorry, your voice is a bit low, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I was saying that as we are mapping GL as at the
one second, we are not mapping. That's how solution is available. We are discussing.
Correct. Yeah, the solution is available. So is there a provision of passing direct adjustments at the primary ledger level, GL level, or it would be via business unit level only?
Yeah, the real business transactions you record in this subledger applications only, BU level. Okay. If any adjustment entries, if you want to pass directly, you can pass within the GL with the help of primary ledger. Adjustment entries.
Okay. And is the solution, then we say CM is for cash management, correct?
Correct. CM cash management, or you can call it C, cash entry.
Okay.
Both are same.
Okay. So treasury or deal management will also go into the legal entity thing, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Lakshman.
Any other questions here, please?
Yeah, Lakshman, in real implementation, is financial consultant is going to wait for the creation of the enterprise, or we can proceed by editing our name and rather than waiting for HCM consultant.
You don't need to touch. Without touching, you can proceed with your setups. Okay. There will be default setups. Oracle is providing the default enterprise. Okay. So you can go ahead and you can create. You can create your primary ledgers, legal entities, business units.
So what points we need to, while mapping, need to discuss the HCM consultant regarding the division or enterprise? Is it essential or not required?
See, it is not like one consultant will go in their own way. It is teamwork. Okay. We all will sit. Okay, the solution will be finalized. Everything will come to know, like how many BUs, how many ledgers, how many legal entities, inventory organizations. There will be team meetings and client meetings. Once everything is finalized, so somebody will take the responsibility of creating this. Okay, enterprise anyway, you don't need to create. That is the default one Oracle is providing. If you are going to have a division, who knows to create the division, primary ledger, legal entity, business unit, and inventory organization, they can create. Or else you can talk to the team. So as a finance consultant, you can say, yes, we are ready with the primary ledger, legal entity, and business units. And you can go ahead with your application specific setups. We can inform to SCM team and to HCM team. Because when they are going to work on SCM and HCM applications, yes, they need these business units and primary ledgers and legal entities. Okay. For that reason, ideally, from finance side, primarily you have to create these three.
Yes. One more question.
Yeah.
You see this in India, in your pic, you have shown this legal entities, ERP India, and the two business units are there. In your example, the PPT you shown to us. If you say that registration, Delhi and can say that Delhi and somewhere you mentioned.
Correct.
Yeah, say that Delhi and Hyderabad. So it will be having two registrations because other state, two different states.
No. In one country, one registration is required. State-wise registration is not required. See, here you see how many entities we have. India legal entity, not Telangana legal entity, and not Delhi legal entity. Okay. Yeah. One country, one registration is enough. Anywhere, any business, you can do it. You have to include in the memorandum and all what you are doing. That's all. Okay, only one. So that means we'll have two balance and segment values. Delhi, one balance and segment value. Hyderabad, one balance and segment value. Those two balance and segment values we map with same legal entity. Okay. India legal entity. This India legal entity we map with India primary ledger.
Yes, and one more question when you just go back to the structure, in Excel sheet. And when you say that, of course, the solution is provided at legal level of cash management. And if you have the 18 business units in one bank account, how it's going to be help us and how it's going to work?
I'll show you the system. It is very simple. Say, it's very simple solution they given. It's all about assigning. Say you have BU1, okay, business unit 1, business unit 2, business unit 3. This is how you have multiple business units. And your question is, see, this multiple business units, say these are the, say 8 business units they have. 8 business units means 8 branches. So now you will create one bank account. So this bank account you want to use in which, how many business units? You can assign. So the bank account you want to use in BU3, the same bank account you want to use in BU8. For other BUs, you may have other bank accounts. This is how you have to do the mapping. Say all the business units are going to use the same bank account. Just as per system, you have to assign the same bank account to all the business units. If you are going to make the payment from BU1, already whatever the bank account you associated with your BU1, the BU1 can have access to their bank account and you can make the payment. Better these points we'll discuss when we are in the AP, accounts payables. Okay.
Fine.
Yeah. Now this is like, it's very specific to the application related process. So now we are talking about just enterprise structure related. Yeah. That is also solution, but it is within the application.
One question, Lakshman.
Please.
In this structure, I think enterprise is the one which is default, as you mentioned, Oracle will be providing. So anything other than that can be reconstructed. For example, in the case of POC or something, if the basic structure doesn't look good, there would be an opportunity of any
Reconstructing
changes.
something we don't have. Okay, because these are all Oracle cannot. Why Oracle is giving enterprise? Because they are allowing only one. That is the reason the one they are providing. Okay, but again, as per our HCM solution, enterprise level, all the defaults and controls we have to update. That can be done by HCM consultant. The rest of all, it totally depends on how you are running the business, how the solution is going to be decided. Okay. How the solution is going to be designed. Accordingly, these all need to be created. That is the reason Oracle is not providing any divisions, no primary ledgers, no legal entity, no business unit, no inventory. Nothing Oracle is providing. How many you need, with what naming convention you require. Accordingly, we have to create it.
No, my question was as in, my question was as in, if, for example, for the scenario of proof of concept, we created division, PL, legal entity, business unit, inventory organization, but later on we decided no, we don't need a division, or we need only one PL. We need only GLPL, not FA. So in that case, is there an opportunity to change that structure, or whatever you have created is going to be fixed? And
if you take example of division, even if you create the division, no issues at all. Okay, it is not going to involve in any transaction part. If you take example of primary ledger, okay, say you created 2 primary ledgers. Okay, sometime you don't want to use it. Yes, you can stop using it. You can go and set inactive date for that, for specific balance and segment values. That's how you can inactivate, or else wherever you are going to assign that primary ledger for business users, that assignments you can remove so that no one can access that primary ledger. So this is how we have a different options. Say you have a 20 branches. Okay, 20 branches, you are working, you created 20 business units in the system. After some time, clients stop running business in one branch. Okay, so you can stop giving that access to the business users since there is no business in that branch, so that no transactions can be recorded. Or else you created 20 business units because 20 branches they established one more branch. Yes, you can create one more business unit. Okay, now you are running the business. Client came up with a new business, and for that they want to go for separate registration. Since they want to go for separate registration, you can create new legal entity. Okay, these all can be extended. Okay, except enterprise, maybe divisions, maybe your primary ledgers, legal entity, business units, inventory organization. If you want to stop at any point of time, yes, you can stop recording the transaction. For that, you can remove the access where you are giving access, and within the system, if you want to inactivate it, if you want to undate it, yes, those options are available for certain enterprise structure units. And if you want to create additional, yes, you can create.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lakshman, maybe if it is in future you're covering this, I'm asking question here. Regarding why we are saying, of course, maybe I acquired the solution, FA, some CR Atlantic, it's fine. But why what is the link actually at primary ledger we are bringing this FA? Because FA also something like in subledger, right?
Yes. So when you record the transactions in every application, we need primary ledger. Okay. In every application, we need primary ledger. Say in fixed assets, what we do, we create assets. Okay. We create assets. So in these applications, okay, in these applications, what we do, how do we record the transactions in these applications? By selecting business unit. Okay, when you talk about fixed, and again, in AP, if you are going to create invoice, we have to select business unit, and with the help of your primer ledger, you create the transactions. And in fixed assets also, however, we are using primer ledger in the AP, in the same way, fixed assets also use the primer ledger. But in case of, okay, to differentiate, to classify the transaction data is belongs to which business unit, okay, we are using the concept called as business unit. Okay, in AP, you are going to record the transaction, the invoices belongs to which BU you have to select, so that you can segregate the invoices, which invoices belongs to which business unit. Similar to that, in FA, we have a concept called as corporate book, or you can say asset book. Okay, so with that book, you can maintain the data separately. Okay, however, you are maintaining the data here with business unit, the same way you can create different books and you can maintain the data. So that option is available. So because this first point is this FA application is not developed by Oracle. If they would have developed it, yes, they can take this FA application also BU level. When we are going to record the create assets, they might have given option to select that asset is belongs to which business unit. Since it's developed by some other application they acquired, how the solution available they took as this. So according to that, as per our enterprise structure, that application can stand at primer ledger level, not at BU level. Okay. So that is the reason, and that's how we have. Any other questions here, please? Okay. Any questions from anyone, please?
So in the case, whatever the business units level privileges that you are showing a track transaction, reports, controls, which is not going to be applicable for FA prospective?
Yeah. FA prospective, the controls will be applicable. What controls we can set at book level? The fixed assets will have a book concept. And for these applications, we have a business unit concept. And in fixed assets, we have a book concept. Book level, what are the controls you said? Those will be applicable. Those will be similar to this only.
Here also for books are applicable for business unit level, right?
Yeah, if you want to create business unit wise, yes, you can create. That is also possible.
Got it. Right.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any kind of question? Just we have to understand. This is very, very important concept for us. Okay, even after discussing this much information, still there is some gap from your end. Don't worry. When we are working on, when we are creating the system, when we start using this primer ledgers, legal entities, business units, there we get a little more clarity if something is not connecting here. But still, you can ask the questions. Any questions on these points? Okay. So we're trying to understand this enterprise structure. Okay. This is enterprise structure.
Anusha.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, because the enterprise structure, whatever we're trying to explain, we're trying to understand. Okay, we're able to understand the concept wise, but when it comes to linking to the system and application, since we do not have the background of functional consider something, so it's a bit difficult to link.
Anyone can understand. Anyone can understand.
So is it like when going?
No. Anyone can understand.
Yeah, my question is like
See, already we assigned our legal entity to primer ledger, right?
Yeah.
When you create the business unit, okay, our primer ledger and legal entity will assign to business unit. When you create inventory organization, okay, our business unit and legal entities will assign to inventory organization. That's it. Simple. When you create, you can see that. Okay. You create, you can see. As of now, just remember, this is the enterprise structure. This is the hierarchy. Okay, it is fixed. Okay, division is not under primer ledger. Legal entity is not under primer. Legal entity is not primer ledger is not under legal entity. Okay, this is fixed. Under enterprise, you have division, under division, this is the prime, under division primary ledger, under primary ledger, legal entity, under legal entity, you have business unit, under business unit only, you have inventory automation. This is fixed. This is how Oracle is offering the solution. The same you should remember. We should not make our own hierarchy by just taking these enterprise structure units. This is a fix. Just remember it when we are doing the system, how this can be established, you can understand. Anyone can understand, no issues. We'll see. Like now we are trying to understand theoretical. Okay, or else directly I can show in the system, but is not the right approach. So once we discuss here, you can start thinking, you can raise the questions, we can discuss so that you will come to one level of clarification. When we are doing in the system, still if you have any questions, we can discuss. That's how we can understand about the concept. So any questions about this enterprise structure, please? Anything, any sort of questions, okay? Which will help us to understand any questions, please.
One question in the sense, in the same structure wherein we are seeing GL and FA as the primary ledger, but as someone else also said that FA is
No,
also
one second, please
subject-
don't mind. Direct question. So don't take a negative way, my request. So
No, I'm saying that FA will also feed it into GL as a
sorry.
fixed assets will also feed it into GL, so or they would be
Yes,
standalone entities.
all the application FA data also will be fed into GL.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then AP and FA can be related as an AP converting to FA or PC converting to FA. That may be a
Yeah, that is
possibility
also
there.
there. Yes. From AP data goes to FA. That all it's completely the business process. Say you
Yes.
like when you deal with asset, you are creating asset that information from should goes from here to here. If you implement PPM, project management, project related costs should go from project costing to FA so that you can capitalize and you can create asset. Okay.
Correct.
We are implementing PPM, the project billing application, the billing information should goes to AR application to bill to the customer.
Correct.
These are very standard processes.
Standard processes. Yeah. Okay.
Any questions? So in tomorrow's session, we'll talk about chart of accounts. Okay, already we discussed what is the meaning of chart of accounts, how many minimum segments, maximum segments, and for our understanding, we created chart of accounts with the 3 segments and we assigned specific labels. So along with that, what are the other points we have to understand? Reality, when you create the chart of accounts for any client, what are the points you need to be considered? That you can say the best practices when you design the chart of accounts, what we should take as a segment, what should not be taken as a part of segment, reality, what we take as a segments for the companies. And these all we'll discuss. Okay, these all we'll discuss in the tomorrow session. So that will be some level will be okay with this enterprise structure and do our chart of accounts so that we can proceed, we can start working. Slowly we'll understand whatever the clarification still we are expecting. Okay. So if no questions, we can wind up for today. If any questions, please. Any questions? Or else you can give me some scenario. If this is like this, how the enterprise structure would be. Okay, or else let me ask. Okay, a few questions. Say, anyone can answer this. Say, client is running the business in US, USA, and 3 locations. 3 locations. Now, anyone, if you are very clear about whatever we discussed, then you can take initiative to answer this question. Now, my question is, client is running the business in USA and they are running the business in 3 locations. This is a simple statement. Client is running the business in USA in 3 locations. Now, tell me the enterprise structure. How many, what, and all?
3 locations for 3 BUs.
Enterprise structure. Oh, anyone who are very clear about what we discussed, please.
So one enterprise. One primary.
No, how many enterprises? Only one.
One default.
See, I'm talking about enterprise structure. Okay.
Yeah, one enterprise.
One enterprise.
One primary ledger.
Why only one enterprise? I want
that is default one. Default one only. We are not able to create.
You cannot have more than one. By default,
Yes.
only one, the same. Yes, one enterprise. Then
One PS.
how many divisions?
We can create one division
Okay, one division.
because one geography only. One primary ledger.
One primary ledger.
One LE. If only one business.
One legal entity.
Yes. And 3 BUs.
Sorry?
3 business unit.
3 business units.
And the respective IOs if they're as per business unit.
1 or 2?
We need three IOs, means
3.
either the default one or the working one.
Okay. See, I said simple statement and you designed the solution. This is not the correct way. You have to ask several questions. How can you say like you one division? How can you say one legal entity? How can you say 3 inventory organizations? How can you say 3 business units? If you think like that, that may be correct, may not be correct. Right? Yes, simple point. One company is operating the business in US in 3 locations. Okay. So how many type of businesses they are doing? Okay. I mean to say what are the vertical of businesses they are doing and how many registrations they have. And in 3 locations they are doing single business or different businesses. How many warehouses they have? These all we have to ask as a questions. Then you can come to the conclusion what could be the proposed enterprise structure. Then you can say, okay, as per your business, one enterprise. This by closing our eyes, you can say only one enterprise because that is only the possibility. Divisions, you have to talk to them. Okay. So division, just you want to establish the organization enterprise hierarchy with a division, or else if you want to record the transactions with the division, you can have a segment. This is what we have to discuss. Finally, you can say like, okay, if you want to have a division, you can have at a structure level, or else you can go with a chart of accounts. If you are going to have a chart of account level, division structure level is not required, or else ultimately they may don't need any division concept in chart of accounts or enterprise level. And primary ledger also, we have to talk to them. Okay, when you talk about primary ledger, just we have to make them to understand what is the meaning of chart of accounts if they want to capture the description and all. This all can be finalized. Yes, even if you say one primary ledger, since they're running in the business in USA, that can be acceptable. Okay, that can be acceptable. Okay, since one country, minimum one primary ledger accordingly given. But you cannot say one legal entity. How can you say like 3 locations they are running the business? 3 locations, how many businesses they are doing? Say they might be doing in the first location 5 businesses, 5 different vertical of businesses. In second location, maybe 1 business. In third location, maybe 2 businesses. In 3 locations, the businesses may be distinct. First location 5, second location 1, third location 2. Total maybe 8 total distinct businesses, different businesses. For different businesses, they have same registration or different registration. That we have to ask. So everything what you are going to finalize, you have to post the questions and how they respond accordingly, how to design. Okay, this statement is not enough. Okay, to design the enterprise structure. For everything, you have to put the questions. Here, questions are not required. Here, you can say divisions. Do you need divisions? First, you have to understand. Okay, what are the different businesses you are doing? Okay, where you are operating. Okay, these are all just we have to understand so that these things can be finalized. You say primary ledger, one primary ledger, that can be acceptable. Okay, yes, that's okay. In one country, minimum one primary ledger is required. That is the best practice generally we follow. But rest of all, inventories, business units, legal entities, divisions, we cannot decide our own by looking at simple statement. Okay, so this we should have it. Okay. So any questions, please? No questions. In tomorrow's session, we'll discuss about chart of accounts more detail level by taking some examples. Whatever enterprise structure we discuss, based on that, what can be taken into chart of accounts and what are the different naming convention when it comes to reality, in the real-time implementation, how the naming convention we use, in which place, what we can use, in which scenario. You may take legal entity also balance and segment. So there are different points which you have to understand based on the reality related to chart of accounts and enterprise structure. Okay. So that we'll discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay. Tomorrow session will focus on chart of account structure. So once that is done, we can start with the specific application. Any questions, please? If no questions, we can wind up.
Which one can we get the structure copy to our IT?
For this,
Yes.
you can make a snapshot when this document I'm not sharing, unfortunately.
Sure.
Yeah. So it would be in the recording, right? So make a
Right.
snapshot, 3-4 snaps. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Any other questions, please?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, apart from this, as a fresher, what will be the procedure for this? Like we have to attend any kind of exams or interview? What will be like for Oracle?
Okay. You just first go through this. Okay. Go through this content.
Okay.
Once you are comfortable with that, accordingly, you can plan.
Acha. Okay, so there is any kind of exam for this or just having an interview on any kind of a company?
So I'll explain you, like, see, there will be certifications also.
Acha, okay.
Okay, certifications also, once you are okay with this product knowledge.
Okay, fine, sir.
Skill, you can go for the exam. Okay, when you talk about core financials, we have 3 certifications. At least you can do 1 certification. I suggest you can go for accounts payable certification. Okay.
Okay, sir.
First, you have to get ready with the product.
Okay, sir.
You can go for certification. Then I'll take one session also, how to get ready for interviews. Okay, how to prepare for interviews. Based on the content, what you are learning, we'll discuss on that.
Okay, sir.
Talk about other points also, what you want to understand related to getting job and all.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So spend more time for practice, and theoretically what we are discussing, you should be able to talk about it. If I ask the question like, could you please explain P2P? Can you explain P2P now? Okay. If you are able to explain P2P, then that's really good. You are ready with that. So that's how the content what we are discussing, theoretically what we are discussing, please get ready. That's very, very important. If you just attend these classes, you feel like, okay, it is easy and yes, I'm able to understand. That is not enough. Whatever I am explaining, you should be able to explain to others. And whatever you are practicing in the system, practice multiple times. And content what we are discussing, read till you can remember. You may read multiple times. Okay. But the target is you should be able to remember. If I ask you the question, could you please explain the enterprise structure by closing the sheets, you should be able to explain. That is the target. Okay. So when you remember all this, you can explain. So my suggestion is better you do some presentations to somebody at your home or the place where you are. So explain P2p cycle, explain O2C cycle, take feedback from them so that will become experience. Okay, that will help you a lot when you attend the interviews or when you speak about any concept. Okay, that way only we can get the experience. Since we are not working, okay, that is only the way you can give the presentations. Okay, one day you can give the presentation on P2p cycle without seeing anything, by seeing not. Okay, read and remember, explain to someone how I explain. I explain P2P, O2C and everything I'm explaining, I'm not referring anything. I don't have anything in front of me. What I remember, what I know, what is there, that I'm explaining. In the same way, you have to start doing that. So that if you are able to explain without referring anything, without any seeing with your note or etc., that's really great. That's what we need from this. Yep. Plan in that way. One day you can explain P2P cycle, or the second day you can explain about O2C cycle. One day you can talk about what does it mean by Oracle Fusion Cloud applications. and what does it mean instance that you can explain. Other day you can explain about calendar, currency, chart of accounts. Another day you can plan what does it mean by primary ledger, legal entity, balance and segment values, what are the labels we have to assign to which segments, and theoretically you can explain. Another day you can say how to create the primary ledger. You can explain what we do in the system. We use the task called as by using manage primary ledger task, we can create the primary ledger. To create the primary ledger, we have to select calendar, currency, chart of accounts, and accounting method. After creating primary ledger, we have to provide the ledger options. Within the ledger options, we have to provide a returned earnings account. Once that is done, we have to create the legal address. Legal address is nothing but the company registration address. After creating legal address, we have to create the legal entity. At the time of legal entity, we'll select the same legal address. And if somebody is going to put cross question, could you please explain, could you please elaborate how to create the legal entity? You should be in the position to explain the fields what you select, provide over there. So you have to be in the position to explain like this. To create the legal entity, if they ask, okay, could you please explain more detailed level how to create the legal entity? You have to say first we have to provide the legal entity name, then we have to provide the legal identifier. Okay, then we have to select the legal address, then we have to provide the registration number and all, and we have to enable the checkboxes called as payroll statutory unit and legal employer. These checkboxes we have to enable. This is how we have to create the legal entity. Okay, so see, when you attend the interviews, if you are trying with experience, they are not going to bother about your experience, real or something else. They are looking for candidates who are okay with the product knowledge. If you are okay, if you are able to talk about what you are learning, that is enough for many companies. Okay, so what reality many are not bothering about. They need candidate who can help them in the implementation or support, who can help them, who are okay with the product. There are many people who got experience, but they are not up to the mark. Okay, so by learning you can do that. So that is important thing. Okay, so we have to be good enough with this content, what we are learning. You have to be very strong theoretically. You have to be very strong with the system, what we are doing in system. And when you are okay with this theoretically and the system point of view, you should be able to speak, otherwise no use. You may try to speak, you may fail, but how you can be good enough in presenting the things by giving presentations. Give presentations at your home. They may like, may not like. Take feedback from them. That's how you can get ready. Okay. When we were running the classes in our institute, we made mandatory everyone should give the presentations. They have to take the feedback. Okay, for each and every topic and concept. Okay, now it's a completely virtual online. So you please take initiative from everyone. That's very important. Yeah. And please make a note of each and every point we are discussing in the class. That's very, very important. Otherwise, when you attend, you may feel comfortable. After completing the classes or when you are practicing after a few days or few months, again, if you start working on things, you'll find difficult. Okay, please make a note, each and everything what we are discussing. The other side, you'll get video and this spreadsheet also will get, but forget about these two and you just depend on what you are preparing. That is very, very important. Spend more time. Spend more time. If you are very busy, you cannot do anything. You may attend the classes. But if you are not working, if you have time, go through whatever you completed, whatever you feel you are okay, but you are not okay. Think that. So again, go through it. Plan for presentations. Practice multiple times. So far, whatever we completed, those complete multiple times. By taking one name like me, in class, I am explaining only one only, I'm creating one time only, we are doing that. But when you are practicing, you are very new to this. Okay, create 2-3 implementation project to create 2-3 calendars. Okay, create 2-3 primary ledgers, create 2-3 legal entities. And maybe for different countries, this is how you can create and create a few journals, what we have seen. And when you create different primary ledgers, yes, you will see like how to assign the roles again and again, how to assign the primary ledger to those roles, how to open the periods, how to create the transaction. So this is how you have to get experience. If you are doing practice multiple times, that is not learning, that is experience. Try to get that experience. Give presentations. system, what you are learning, that presentation. And if somebody is going to ask me the question, how to create the chart of accounts, I should be able to answer like this. To create the chart of accounts, first we have to create the value sets, then we have to create the chart of account structure instance, the chart of account structure name. Within that, we have to create the segments. While we are creating the segment, we have to assign the respective value sets to segments. For segments, we have to assign the segment labels. Here you can list out. For company, you have to assign the primary balance and segment label. For account, we have to assign the natural account segment label. For department segment, we have to assign the cost center segment label. Then there should be a question from the interviewer or somebody else. Why we have to assign the primary balance and segment label to company? We discussed. So what level you want to balance the transactions, what level you want to generate the reports, and you want to find out the profitability, that segment level we have to assign primary balance and segment label. Ultimately, we need to balance the transactions and we have to find out the profitability company level only. That is the reason we have to assign primary balance and segment label. Why we have to assign natural account segment label to account segment? Yes, when you create those values within the account segment, we have to set the nature for those accounts. If you want to set the nature for the accounts, we have to assign the natural account segment label. If you assign natural account segment label, then only system will add the 4 additional value attributes. Out of 4, one is account type. To set that, we have to assign. Okay, by mistake, I assign natural account segment label to company. Okay, can I remove and can I reassign? Yes, you can do that, but no use. Once you assign, the properties will be applied. Once you save it, even if you remove, no use. You cannot use that chart of account. You have to create the new chart of account. This is how, like when you explain, think like if there is some cross question, how to answer. Okay, that's how, like once we're done with that, we have to create the chart of account structure instance. We have to, what do you mean with instance? Simply you can say instance is nothing but copy of chart of account structure. Why we have to create instance? When you create the primary ledger, we can use instance only. Structure we cannot find out. Okay. So if you want to use the chart of account structure, the structure you have to copy and you have to create instance. Instance is the one which we can use. What does it mean by dynamic combination creation allowed checkbox in the chart of account structure instance level? You should be able to answer. We discussed. If you enable dynamic combination creation allowed checkbox in the instance level, we'll be able to create new code combinations. Otherwise, no. Okay, otherwise, no. Do we need to enable all the segments as required at instance level? Yes. If you don't enable any one of the segment as required in the instance level, you cannot use that chart of account structure instance to create the transactions. After once we are ready with the chart of account structure instance, we have to deploy it. When you say deploy, they can ask the question, what do you mean by deployment? Okay, deployment is nothing but validation. Okay, whatever the chart of account structure we created within our accounting flex field or accounting key flex field, that need to be submitted for deployment. That means system will validate. What system will validate? System will validate whether primary balance and segment label and natural account segment label, these 2 labels are assigned or not. Okay, this is what system will verify. And if those 2 labels are assigned, that means system will consider the 2 labels can be assigned to 2 different segments. Then system will understand, okay, this chart of account is okay with the 2 segments are there, 2 segments, 2 labels are assigned. That's how it will validate. Okay. So once it's validated, you can create the segment values in the value sets. The question could be, why can't we create segment values in the value sets when you create the value set? Already discussed. Once deployment is done, then only system will add the 4 value attributes or value attributes. It could be 4 or 2. The value attributes can be added to value sets after deployment only. Before deployment, if you try to create the segment values, you don't find the value attributes like summary, allow budgeting, allow posting. In case of account, you cannot find the additional 4 attributes like account type, third party control, reconciliation flag, and financial category. You don't find this. That is the reason after deployment only you have to create the values. This is how you should be able to answer. This is all we discussed. Only you have to get ready. For that, you have to spend time. How much time you are spending, that is really matter. If you are attending all the classes, if you are doing all the practice, that is not a great thing. Spend more and more time. Okay. If you don't have other jobs, sit from morning to evening. that will help you. Okay, please plan for presentations. That's very, very important. Yep.
Lakshan, what would be the scope of the answer for a question, explain O2C process or P2P process? Do we have to just briefly, focus on the flow of
I explained
data?
on the same day. Okay, how to answer also explain.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see in that session.
Okay.
So like after explaining P2P cycle, if somebody is going to ask you as a question how to explain, I was talking about it.
So that's the whole,
Okay, let me answer, no issues. See, your question is, could you please explain P2P cycle? My answer is P2P cycle stands for procure to pay cycle. In this P2P cycle, the process will get initiated with the purchase requisition. When there is some demand in the organization or if there is any shortage, so we raise the purchase requisition that need to be get approval from the inventory department, and then the purchase requisition, or you can call as PR. Once it is approved, that information will pass to purchasing department. Based on the approved purchase requisition, purchasing department will request for RFQs, request for quotations. The purchase department will receive the quotations from the different vendors. They'll analyze those quotations. They'll choose the best quotation. Once they choose the best quotation, they'll place the order to supplier with approvals. Once our organization will receive the material, we'll record the same as a GRN, goods receipt note, or you can say simply receipt. If any returns, any damage for the items or goods what we received, we perform the purchase returns. Finally, the GRN information, purchasing department will pass to payables department. Payables department will create purchase invoice based on the GRN information. And based on the due date, they'll make the payment to supplier. The payment information, payables department will share with the cash department, or you can use the application name also. Okay. Better you can use department name, wherever you think application name you want to use, you can use it. The payables department will share payment information with the cash department or cash management application for bank statement reconciliation. If the purchase invoice is related to asset related purchase, that information payables department will pass to fixed assets department or asset department, you can say. Based on that, they can create the asset and they can calculate the depreciation. Ultimately, all the data will share to common department in terms of application, general ledger application, so that within the general ledger application, we can prepare the financial reports. This is how you can explain about the P2P cycle. In the same way, O2C also.
So just the process and the departments involved are the modules involved.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Lakshman sir, one thing. What is the use of this third-party control attribute?
We'll understand. That is a separate concept. Okay. So you can set some rules like the application, the account can be used in which application and all, you can set that. We'll see.
So that is a part of
instructions. We'll see that.
That we will see later?
Yeah, we'll see later. Okay. Say for example, you have an account. You have account 1, account 2, account 3. Okay. So this account I want to make it to use only in AP. Okay. By using third-party control account for account number 1, I'll set AP. So this account system will verify where we are using this account. If we are using that account in accounts payable application, it will allow. In other applications, it won't allow.
Okay.
Yeah. So account 2, okay, account 2 is coming from some other applications. You don't want to allow to use this account 2 in the GL. Okay. Don't use. You can set the rule. Means you can set which account can be used in which application. You can set a rule by using the third-party control account. That's all.
Okay. I think this we can do in
example also.
Okay.
Now you don't need to focus on that. So when we are working on payables and other applications, we'll understand which accounts we use over there, which accounts should not be used, why we have to set that. We'll discuss. Any other questions, please?
Lakshman, just the way you helped us to show that PowerPoint slide, just those flow charts, do we have to enter that kind of a flowchart and upload it into the system for reference?
No,
or
no,
that's
that
just,
you don't need to do.
okay.
Okay, as a part of presentation, you may prepare it.
But it doesn't go into the system. It doesn't get
System,
uploaded
no,
as a
system,
part
nothing
of
will
record.
go. Nothing. No.
Okay.
Automatically, whenever you create all these, automatically this kind of hierarchy can be established by system. Okay. So you don't need to upload anything. So when you do the setups, okay, here, if you look at this is a standard hierarchy. We assign legal entity to primary ledger, right? Then when you create the business unit, we link business unit with the primary ledger and legal entity. When you create inventory organization, we link inventory organization with business unit and legal entity. That's how system will establish the hierarchy. Okay, system will create this connectivity based on these setups, based on these definitions. What you create accordingly, it will establish. We don't need to create and we don't need to upload. We don't need to do anything.
So Lakshman sir, one thing, whatever the document and video you have shared with us via this Google Drive, so do we need to download it before the end of this?
You can download, you can start downloading. Okay, so far what are the classes we complete, you can download, or else you can wait till the course completion and you can download it. If you download now, what is the advantage? If you want to play easily, you can play. Okay, those you can maintain in our system. I suggest you can download.
Okay. So means and at some point you are going to remove that share link with us, correct?
After completing the course, maybe after a few months, I may remove that.
Okay, got it.
See, the course duration is 3 months. So May, June, July. By end of the July, say we will complete the course. Maybe in the August or September month, I may remove that.
Okay.
But you can download the video and please don't delete. If you guys, what they are doing is they are downloading the videos and they're removing from the drive. Please don't do that. Just download and leave those videos as it is so that others also can download.
Perfect. Yeah.
Please. Any questions, please? Okay, no questions. Okay, tomorrow's session we'll talk about chart of accounts, more detailed level. Yeah. So done for today. See you tomorrow. Thank you all.